All right, sisters and misters, hop in my carriage and let's head to Massachusetts because it's time to rewind. Okay, well now Beth has gone to the angels.
Ugh, it's the worst part of the movie.
Oh,
Beth's
God.
dead.
And it's
She
a
knows
sad moment
Rupert.
here on the podcast as well, but we still have a little bit more left of the story, so we're going to continue on. Goodbye, Beth.
I really love the Beth death scene,
Oh.
or what leads. It was a beautiful moment between two sisters. I thought it was like that final conversation, and she's so aware that it's the end, and her kind of saying like, I always hung back and now I'm the one who's going forward, and like kind of trying to reassure Joe, like I can be brave. I'm brave. It was like,
God.
listen, just no one is doing it like Claire Danes when it comes to making me cry.
Oh, yeah.
I rewatched-
Every time I sob,
It
harder and
sucks.
harder each viewing.
I was watching it like right before we logged on, and I was like, let me wait to do my mascara until
Oh,
we've cleared
yeah.
this
Yes.
fully.
I love being home, but I don't like being left behind. Now I'm the one going ahead.
Beth's death scene is so incredibly impactful, and I think it's like the best way I've seen it done. And I love
Yeah,
the
agreed.
new Little Women. It's my favorite Little Women is the 2019 Little Women.
Okay.
But
The death scene
and
was...
Beth's death hurt me in that one too, but it was in this one was so incredible to have them talk about it. And like you were saying, Sarah, yeah, to have her talk about like going, like she's so aware and she's so clear-eyed about it, and she's talking to her favorite sister, the one, with the stories, and so it's just so beautiful.
She could have honestly, it's surprising that no one else in the movie got really any awards love, because
She could have
I
been
don't know,
nominated
like
for
that
sure.
scene is so perfectly performed, you
Yeah.
know, and yeah, that monologue, I've given that in class to a student who was just way too young, and I'm like, okay, I guess I gotta,
You don't
this
understand.
this isn't
what
Claire
mortality
Danes. Yeah,
You've obviously never watched someone die.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
So like, I bet you I could fly if I jumped off a roof. You're like, oh, your prefrontal cortex is not developed enough for this.
I was just like, okay, not everyone can be Claire Danes, so thank you for trying. Next, but it's beautiful, and the end. I mean, we need to also talk about the score, the Thomas Newman score, the soundtrack
beautiful.
you've mentioned, Sarah. I mean, honestly, play this at my funeral, please.
Yes.
Every song from like the kind of main theme, the real sweeping theme,
Orchard House is
right? But even the smaller little sounds and the twinkling, and it's so playful, it's so moving. But the song I've probably listened to the most, which is so sad, is the music when Beth goes.
Yeah,
And it's like the
yeah.
piano and then the kind of chorus singing as their housekeeper woman with the flowers on the dolls.
And the little
Okay.
one was
I do have something dark to ask.
Okay.
The flowers in the bed and on the dolls and stuff, was that to hide the smell of death?
Oh,
I wonder. I don't know.
Was that like I couldn't quite tell, like, is this a symbolic, beautiful thing? Is this also
Poppies.
something that maybe happened actually
right.
in this time because she
Yeah.
like rotted in that bed
Oh,
a
God.
bit?
Maybe. I have to tell you, I have never thought of that. So you are opening my eyes.
It is. So I know poppies have been used for remembrance, like they like do it on like Veterans Day and stuff like that. But it is, I don't know, because also didn't Winona Ryder, like, doesn't Joe get the letter saying you have to come home, Beth's dying, and there were poppies in the letter? Didn't she
Oh.
like open it and there were, maybe I'm just
I
tripping,
can't
but I thought like
remember.
but maybe she also just had like poppies on her desk or something. I don't know.
Maybe. There are
But
some moments like that where there's some connect, like when Friedrich gives her like an orange, which goes back to when Amy had her orange, and then Joe is
orange.
eating it later while writing. Like there's some
Yeah,
physical
yeah,
prop
and he had the
stuff,
box.
right?
Yeah.
So,
Copies in her manuscript, right? She puts
oh, maybe that's it.
Oh, so I think that it's a symbol of remembrance, but it's
Okay.
also Sarah, it's also 100%. They definitely back in the day would use, like pocket full of posies or whatever from like
Right,
is
right,
about.
right.
And then also poppy is how you get opium. So I also wonder if there's like a tie-in with being chronically ill, like a slow malingering death, and like also poppies. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
wow.
bet
I
you.
never thought of it that way, but it makes a lot of sense. And honestly makes it even sadder. Jeez.
It does.
I
But yeah,
know.
the music is so great.
Oh,
Josie was born to Under the Umbrella.
Oh
amazing.
my God!
That's what was playing in the room when she.
And that's the last song.
That's
That's
the
like
last
at the
song.
end, right, Sarah?
Yes,
Is it
that's
that? Yeah.
the very
Yes.
last
Oh my
song.
God. Wow.
So
I love that
Josie
music.
really is Little Women too.
Mm-hmm.
She
Josie is,
is.
she came at, she was like, and now I make my entrance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
is the sequel. Oh, there you go.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah,
Oh,
it's beautiful music. Even as a kid, I was like, whoa, like, it just really hits and it's so good,
I'm
yeah.
a part of the Thomas Newman Hive.
Oh my
Stand him
God. And he
forever.
got an Oscar nom for the score, rightfully
Good.
so, and
Yes.
I mean, and honestly, I sometimes play it like even not even thinking of the movie, like play it for Christmas because it's also just got such a holiday vibe as well, So
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
yeah, beautiful
Jingle
score.
bells come in at
Yes.
times.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I love when there's like a little bit, yeah, like twinkling and it takes like especially like the big theme kind of takes some turns and then it goes back to the big like it's just so good. You can honestly like they did such a good job kind of letting us hear a little bit of each girl or a little bit of each of life's moments in the sound, which is so
Yeah.
smart, Beautiful. Yeah. Mm.
I really love when they give her the piano at Christmas.
Yes, I'm so glad
And
you
Claire
said
Danes is incredible in that scene
incredible.
Yes,
too.
Yes,
another.
Kit.
And when she collects herself and is like, should I play something? Like, oh,
Yes. And I do kind of love that either it was Claire Danes' decision or maybe the director, Gillian Armstrong, had told her, like, yeah, like, just so that everyone knows that death is coming for you, like, still do like a sniff and kind of like, she like wipes her nose before
yeah.
playing the piano. Like, I just think that's like a really interesting touch to put in there that, like, she seems good and we're happy, but like, there's still a
Still,
little,
I bet you that was Danes too, because she was
maybe.
also tearing up, but I bet it does. It indicates
There's
that
like
like
just that
real,
little, and like I think this is still when Kirsten Dunst is around. I think it's still young
Mhm.
Amy.
She
Yeah,
is.
because
Lori's
she's right.
holding
yeah,
her
Lori's
back.
holding her.
Yes. Oh, that's
Totally
right.
different context now that you know they get
Oh
married.
God, you're
Like, I'm
right.
like, she's
You're
still a child.
right.
Look for Lori.
Yeah.
Did not age well for him.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, definitely a weird dynamic. He really loved these March girls. Like you were saying,
Yeah.
Kit, you quoted him saying, like, even if Beth had a lover, I'd hate him. It's like,
Yeah,
okay, I don't know if that's
that's
normal.
not healthy.
Right.
And
Oh, I think he had a could we, should we moment with each of them. Because him and Meg at that party, he
Right.
was like,
Which honestly, I
he was
kind of like.
really into Meg for a
Yeah.
while, I honestly
I
feel.
think he
Yeah.
was just, well, I don't want to say he was just lonely because I mean, all these girls were great to fall for, but then he's with the girls later on in his party days. I'm just like, okay, like, are you lonely? Do you
He
need
wanted his parents died.
his parents? Yeah,
grandfather took care of him, but wasn't
wasn't
of
very
an era
loving.
where you could love. And
Yeah.
then he just looked out the window and saw like the
Mhm.
happiest, most
The
loving
joy.
family that like,
only horny too.
Corny.
But
Oh yeah,
and then they're all hot.
with that
Yeah, and they're
goatee.
all
Yeah.
smoking hot and like with different hair colors and styles.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Through times of hardship and times of joy.
This is blasphemy. And Melissa was sick, so I didn't want to put this on her while she's unwell.
Yeah.
But I think the proposal in the 2019 one to me is so much more heartbreaking.
I'll give you
Because
that.
see that she does they both do kind of love each other in that way, but she's like, don't you get it? I can't. And he's like, why? I promise I wouldn't. And he like really, really believes that he wouldn't, but you know that he would. And it's so much more. You really see their love for each other in a really impactful.
also, those two actors have so much chemistry.
Yes.
Definitely.
Saoirse and Timothy Chalamet, it's off the charts
Mhm.
chemistry.
Yes.
Even
Anything
in
they do
Lady
together.
Bird when they
And
had their
Lady
scenes
Bird,
together.
yeah, they've
Whoa.
always been
Right. They're a
swirling
great
each
duo.
other.
Like I will watch at least 10 more movies with them together. Even if like one of them's only a side character, as long as they're doing a scene together, it's
Yeah.
gonna be so good. Right. I agree, Kit. Yeah, I remember I've only seen the 2019 version once. I wanna see it again
Oh,
soon.
you should watch it
I
soon.
should really
Yes,
rewatch it
good.
again.
Rewatch
But
it this year.
It's
yeah,
a
oh yeah.
fall. It's a
I remember we were saying that
Summer
on our
fall,
text chain.
true.
Yeah, so there's more fall. This one, it's so winter. Obviously, it's
So
really
winter.
beautiful all the seasons, and there's some
Yeah.
really great fall shots, but this one is so, I mean, all that snow, whether it was real or fake, right? But yeah, the newer one feels more, you got the browns, you got like those fall
Yeah,
colors,
it's
right?
like a November movie because it
Mm,
has the winter, but it
more of a
really,
Thanksgiving.
yeah, relishes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's interesting. But I do remember the proposal and that whole scene. You could feel the heartache on both parts. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up.
And now I have this, but we might be talking about it in a minute because I do have a thing about the ending.
Yeah, bring it up. Let's talk. Yeah, I think we're
Um,
there.
it's called the Little Women Ending Paradox, and Ash brought it up as well, and I was like, yes, this is true, because she is writing the book Little Women by Jo March. At what point, if she does not finish it, is it then the story? Like, at what point is it the story, and at what point is it life? And if she doesn't, if she finishes the book, is that then putting an end to their life? But then where do the characters, do they live? Like,
Right.
it's very much, yeah, a paradoxical. The fact that she's writing the book, but she isn't actually Louisa May Alcott, but she is Louisa May Alcott.
Right. Yeah, you're so right. Like, how does the book end? Because she finishes and she, the big finale is she gets it in the mail, meaning that it's published or it will be published, right? Or no, he
Yeah,
drops it
yeah.
off. It will be published, I guess. But yeah, it's like you're right. How does the story end? Because it's not really a
And then
happy
she's
ending
like, "We're
for the
gonna
book,
have
for
a school for kids."
right,
But who wrote the book? The book is called Little Women.
right,
It's not like it, but so is this our reality, or is this like a concurrent timeline, like the Marvel
right.
Cinematic Universe
We're
versus
getting
like
meta. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
Where
like
does
folding in on itself.
it
yes?
is? Yeah.
You're so right. Now I want to read Joe's version of Little Women to see the differences and how it ends. Because
Yeah,
yeah,
like how
Does the top fall?
right,
yeah.
right, yeah. That's so
Very
interesting.
Inception.
I kind of feel
Yes,
like
exactly. Like,
yes,
which one are we in? Has it all been a dream?
that's so funny. I never. Wow, you're really unwrapping my brain right now.
Well, and
How
in the
does the book end?
newer version, I think there's less of that
Hmm.
because we watch her talking to a publisher or an editor
Right
saying
from the start, right? Like,
Yes.
everyone has to get married by the end. And we know
Yes.
Louisa May Alcott did not get married.
hmm
Yeah.
And so we know at a certain point, this is fiction.
hmm
I hear Maya. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maya's pissed about it too.
Yeah, she's like, is someone there?
I don't know. All right, I'll be right back.
Okay, no worries.
Ghost.
You go do your
A
thing.
ghost.
Oh, it's the ghost. One
Mhm.
last scare. When we go to the house, Kit, you have to help me do a seance. We have to
Yes.
try.
Oh, I'm so scared, but it's gonna latch on to us.
No, it's a nice ghost. We'll just try to
It is.
figure out like what's going on, girl.
I do want to gently talk to every time I'm in Sarah's house, I'm like, we can let down our psychic guard a little bit and see if
Yeah,
the ghost wants to say
I'm
something.
okay. Just making a little small talk, little chit chat. Was
Yeah,
anyone
just
there?
Right.
Was it a ghost?
ghost.
Yeah, it was interesting. Two little girls at the door. They said, "Do you have any children that we could babysit?" And it was that amount of space.
Okay, yeah, I believed you, and then I was like, "Oh, this is a joke," and then now I believe you. Oh,
No.
wow.
Yeah. Do you have any children that we can maybe set?
We could babysit. So what we need to do is everyone needs to be doing a wellness check on me every hour until tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How old were these girls, do you think? Were they like,
One looked maybe like 12, one looked
okay,
maybe 10. I
okay.
said, this is not a good time. And the girl looks at me and goes, okay. And then I shut the door.
Oh,
And
so
I
you didn't
had
even
to
tell
get
them
here.
like, "Oh yeah, sure, we'll talk sometime." You just were like, "Oh, this is not a good time." And
This is not a good time. Don't tell them you have kids.
yeah,
They
true.
don't need to
They can
know.
see, they can see there's a stroller sitting in front of my house.
That's
They
Right.
know I
yeah.
have a kid.
Have you
You're
seen
not
these
watching
girls
my
around the
kid?
neighborhood? Are they
No, I've never
recognizable?
seen them before.
Oh my God, this is like a junior version of The Strangers or something.
That's what I'm thinking, and I don't love it. But like also it's like I don't know if you wanted me to trust my child with you, shouldn't you be like, "Hey, my name is this. I live in your neighborhood." Like instead of being like, "Do you have children?" that I could babysit.
I could babysit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think the TV would do a better job. Like,
Yeah.
where's the pizzazz? What happened to show business?
Yes.
You got to earn your keep
Help
here.
me. Come on, what's
Oh
your
my
pitch
God.
here?
What you're selling.
Yeah. And
What?
also, this is too soon. You gotta like push a little piece of paper under the door, or like, tape
Yeah.
something to the door to say, if you're interested, email me and my mom, and we can, like, right? Like we
Yeah.
gotta.
You have to have a business plan.
Yeah.
It does,
Do
sounds
they
like
have
they're
anything in
wandering
their
around
hand?
looking for like.
She was holding a paper, but I
Okay.
couldn't see it. She was holding a paper that was facing herself.
Her past victims.
Her script,
The
the map
addresses
of houses to come back and murder people at. Like,
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah, she's checking
That's
off like,
all.
okay, this woman was home, so we're coming back tonight. So yeah, we're gonna be checking on you. Real quick, speaking of Meg being a babysitter and nanny, I think we didn't even mention Aunt March, played by Mary Wicks, I believe, from Sister Act. Oh my God,
Oh,
like,
she's so
can
fabulous.
you imagine Sister Act 1, 2, Little Women? I mean, does life get any better? I don't think so. But
That's Ash goes, she's in Sister Act. Yeah.
she's so good in this, and like, you completely understand why none of them, even poor Amy having to be her companion, everyone's like, hi. Because Meryl's great in the new one, but we love Meryl. Mary
Yeah.
Wicks.
Like, even when
or
she's a
Wicks.
bitch, she's like the most interesting, cool bitch
Yeah,
in the world.
But this, I mean, but when she has a line that I thought was interesting, she said like, well, I'm paraphrasing, but she says to Marmee, like, oh, well, it's already going to be tough enough trying to get Meg married. Who wants to marry a governess, like a nanny? Like, it's like, dang, So, yeah, I do love all the things that I never caught as a kid and really rarely caught until these last few years, like all the great, just like lines about being a woman at this time. Like, whoa, really great script. Really well done.
Winona Ryder, Trini Alvarado, Samantha Mathis, Kirsten Dunst, Claire Danes, and Susan Sarandon.
I love the Christmas songs in this movie when they're singing around the piano, when they're singing outside. I always got such a kick out of that. Because I think also, we didn't see this in theaters, but I was maybe around 8 the following year seeing it. Some of those like classic Christmas songs I hadn't really heard yet, like Here We Come, so just hearing some of these great
I had
classic.
only had sang it in like choir in like second grade. So I was like, these are real? These are like in the wild songs.
Oh,
like
that's so
Christmas
fun.
carols?
That's,
Yeah.
yeah, you're like, this is some weird school thing. And it's like, oh my
Yeah.
God, Winona Ryder's singing it now. Yeah. So,
This is a cool song. This is a jam.
yes.
I will say too, I love how fucking pagan it was. But like that's very true of just like the time period and everything. Like first of all, wassailing is a pagan thing that they all like do. But I loved the wedding where they were like singing about Jesus, doing like it's very, very pagan.
And making a blood sacrifice of Beth at the altar.
Right,
Like,
basically.
come on, Beth.
You had 4 children. You couldn't give back one to the gods. Come now.
I have done no research, so this could exist, but I also really, and maybe it was because I was eating my disappointing Domino's order. The food, I would love a Little Women cookbook.
Right?
That cake when she's powdering the cake and there's the sprig of holly in the middle, and then the Christmas, the earlier Christmas morning
With the sausages.
bread,
Right.
the sausages, and
The coffee always looks so good. I'm like,
gorgeous.
That's why I'm like,
I would love a Little Women cookbook.
right?
Yeah.
Like, I would go to a Little Women party, and we always see these fucking Gatsby parties. I'm like, I think the real fun is the Little Women party.
Yeah.
Like, right?
Yeah.
Like, I
so
think
you
that's
wouldn't
where
be
it's
able to
at.
drink it all. They're total teetotal.
Yeah, true.
No drinking.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I think
like
I
how
would
later
dress
on
as
he's
Meg
like,
at that party though.
Yeah.
Like catch me boostieing my boobs
Yeah,
up.
up to the skies.
Right.
Ooh,
Yeah.
love
Right.
it.
Lift
Yeah.
them.
Oh, I read an interesting fact that this costume designer, in order to portray just how tight finances were, was she reused costumes. So like Amy, that blue dress that Meg starts out in for the party, we see Amy in that later when she's older.
I
She
didn't even
knew.
realize.
So that you could see like dresses being handed down the way they would have been, or the way things are with amongst siblings. She intentionally reused some costumes.
Wow.
So cool.
Oh
I
my
love
God.
that.
I've never noticed it, and that's amazing. That's amazing. I love that. And I do love that blue dress. And I don't, is that the one where the girls, oh no, maybe that's a different blue dress. I know Meg wears her blue dress in that scene with like the rich mean girls, and
Yeah,
she like
that's when they're
sewed it
like, you have
herself.
to
Is
wear
that the
something
one?
Like that's a
else. Okay.
daytime dress,
Yes.
whatever.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
when we see grown-up Amy
Wow, wearing that.
before she goes to France,
Uh-huh.
she's
Yeah,
wearing a
wearing it.
dress.
Wow. Oh, that's so cool.
And it
I love
gives
those little
it
details.
gives you that further coloring of their characters, like
Mhm.
how Amy does. She really would love a nice thing for herself, and how Meg understands that. Meg's the oldest and Amy's the youngest, and Meg, that's why she gives her the little, I love the limes. I forgot to mention that.
The
Any scene that
limes.
talks about limes, and they're like, she had 12 limes, and I had all of these limes. You took all my limes away. I'm like, oh my God, bring back lime currency.
I
It's so
know.
cute to say.
I'm always like limes, and then that gets her like, and also just school teachers hitting kids and hitting little girls. It's just like, oh my God, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. It's interesting. I had never really caught before. Yeah, the food currency. You know, not only donations, but like we were saying, not only limes, but like Friedrich hands Winona the orange, and now that's like a symbol of love. Like food, there's like food imagery here that's not very on the nose, but it's just these little details where it's like now by accepting the food, like now a bond is formed, or you know, or vice versa, or not formed, you know. So just like really cool little
Oh yeah,
details.
and Lori sends the pear.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a little treat that on like the winter,
Mm-hmm.
time, the
Yeah.
pear.
Mm-hmm.
That's
It's such a good movie. I just love this so much. It's like I say this a lot on the show, but like this is just one of those warm blankets for me where it's like turn it on, I'm cozy, right? But yeah,
Yeah.
I gotta rewatch 2019, and I do want to check out the 2017 miniseries I think I
Oh
told you guys
yeah.
about with
yeah.
Maya Hawke, and there's a
If
couple
you find that on
familiar.
streaming, let me
Yeah,
know.
I'll let you know. It's a
Yes,
3-part
that's on
BBC one.
Pluto.
Oh,
That's
it
on
is.
Pluto. And this one isn't.
No, this
They
one
took it
is on
away.
this one is on Pluto because I ended up watching it because the link I sent you guys had ads and was so annoying, and then Pluto had ads, so I was like, all right, I'll just put it on Pluto. So this
But
one's still on Pluto.
when I looked up on
It
Pluto
was
yesterday,
gone?
but maybe it was gone
Oh,
yesterday. The only
jeez.
one they had was Maya
Was the
Hawke's
Maya
one,
Hawke
which I do
one?
want to see, but I just,
Okay.
yeah, it was like
I
not
think it's
till
also on, in case you don't want to watch it with ads, the miniseries I believe is on Amazon Prime if you have that.
Oh
But now that has
yeah,
ads,
yeah.
so unless you pay
That's
for
where I
the
rented, which I was like, I don't mind renting Little Women. Like,
Oh, that's
I would have
sweet.
done
I
this at
bought it.
You
Blockbuster.
bought it. Yeah. I
I
don't
bought
know
it. I was
why
like,
I
I
don't
do
own it.
this
Right?
all the
Yeah.
time. I rent it once a year. Just buy it.
Just
There.
Just
buy
buy
it.
it.
Yeah. Did
I
you
want to
buy
buy the
like
physical.
the
When I really
physical?
want to
Yeah.
see it again, I want to own the physical because I hate, and you never know. Sometimes they like take it off. All of
Yeah.
a sudden, it's not streaming anywhere or something. Who knows? But
It's nice to still have the physical of like the ones you really love, right? Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I know it's weird I don't own it.
This holiday season, save a place in your heart for the best reviewed, best loved movie of the year.
I could never love anyone as I love my sisters.
Little Women is easily one of the year's best. The perfect movie. Magical. Glorious. A celebration. Winona Ryder is Oscar-bound. Little Women. Rated PG. At theaters everywhere Christmas Day.
For Friedrich, Hugh Grant was a really huge contender for it. And the producer had been quoted saying, we all had such a huge crush on him. But it was the casting director that really thought that his casting was, quote, off the rails, which is interesting. Because he was really, I mean, Four Weddings and a Funeral, I think was 94 or right around there. So, I
Yeah.
mean, super in demand, well known, makes perfect sense. But then they decided he ultimately looked too young. He didn't look like he was a seasoned, you know, like professor, which
Yeah.
Friedrich has to be older, which is also just
It's
kind of
too
weird.
British. Like there
What?
has to
Yeah.
be like
Yeah.
a Bohemian or a Latin feel. Like he is
Right.
just so
Yeah.
so white.
That's true.
Like,
That's really
Yeah.
true. That's a good point. And John Turturro, randomly, John Turturro was really lobbying for the role of Friedrich, but he's
damn.
too old at that time, I think.
Let me look at
So, yeah. So just thought that was interesting.
Not good looking enough. I think.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
not. Sorry. No. Yeah.
Yeah, I get why he thought he was he is a Frederick.
Yeah.
I get why he would feel that way, but yeah.
Yeah. The film is dedicated to a murder victim. Maybe you guys know this, named Polly Klaas, I believe, which I remember hearing about this. A girl that was kidnapped from a slumber party and murdered in, I believe, Northern California, where Winona Ryder was from. So Winona Ryder was like super influential in helping trying to find her killer at the time. So yeah, she offered actually Winona Ryder, I think, was the one that offered a $200,000 reward to try to find this girl, like out of Winona's own money. So yeah, a very sad little but beautiful connection there to put her name then in the end credits of this movie. So maybe you guys knew that. I thought that was so interesting, you know. But yeah, that's all I got. Anything you
I
guys want to
remember
add?
one. I do remember
Yeah.
one thing.
Mhm.
It's back when we were talking about how Friedrich is kind of tacked on, and like you were saying, Sarah, like Louisa May Alcott never married and like didn't have kids, and then, I didn't know. I thought like how Greta Gerwig interpreted it was. I was like, oh, that's probably an accurate interpretation, but apparently it like actually is totally what happened. Louisa May Alcott said, because it came out in two parts, Little Women, and she made a shit ton of money off of it because she took the deal that they show in the 2019 one where they didn't believe anyone was going to want to read some shit about women. So they were like, okay, well, we'll publish it for cheap. And she was like, well, I'll take less up front if I get a good deal on the publishing. And they were like, works for us. We're going to pay you less ultimately because no one's going to want to read this. So we'll just pay you less up front and then whatever. And then it just like, yeah, fucking took off. So she made all this money and lifted her family out of poverty and took care of her family for the rest of their days. Like, that's amazing.
Wow.
But she
So
said when it came out in the two parts, everyone, and she did not realize how hard everyone was going to be shipping Laurie and Joe because she had never had any intention, and she was going to lay that and like develop that there's never any intention for the two of them to end up together. But
wow.
they actually did say the thing. The publisher said the woman needs to get married or die at the end, or we will not publish it. So she said, I decided it would be a perverse joke for the people who loved the book, like as a perverse joke, an in joke between all of us that like we knew Joe was never supposed to marry, but they're making me. So here's this weird old guy that she just freaking meets, and boom, done. He's from somewhere else, whatever. Like,
That's
so
so
she
interesting.
actually did do that. It's like it is confirmed. Friedrich is not really supposed to be in there, but she added him as sort of a joke for
Okay.
everyone who loved the book.
And you can feel it, like we've said, like, you know, he's an interesting guy, but like you don't really feel such a strong connection, and that makes sense. So yeah, she did it just to get it published. But you know
Yeah.
what? Great, good for you, girl. Like, do
Do
what you
it.
gotta
Get your
do,
coin.
right? Yeah, get your
Make that
coin.
money.
Yeah,
And now we all
absolutely.
know. And I love how in the 2019 one, like they show her saying, like, I don't want her to get married. And they're like, well, there has to be a wedding. And she's like,
Yeah.
and then it just cuts to
Yeah.
the scene where, yeah, she falls in love with Friedrich.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, totally.
His character, I think if he wasn't the romantic interest for her, I like what he does. I like who he is as far as helping her hone her craft and like pushing her toward excellence in what she wants to do. And it's just such a bummer.
Yeah, that they have to like get married about it. Like,
Yeah.
Such a bummer.
I'm just glad we actually don't. Again, I haven't read the book, so I don't know if in the book it ends with a marriage, like with a wedding. I'm just glad we don't see that, you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's just like, there's talk of their future, of course, they kiss, but like, that's all we need. No, then like continuation or like a little montage of like,
Yeah.
I just feel like, nah, you know,
Save that for Little Women too,
Yeah.
with Josie.
bigger women. I don't know. No,
Bigger
that's
women.
different.
Little Women Atlanta.
Yeah.
I know. Boy, when you go to look it up on YouTube to try and find that,
Oh my God,
a lot of Little Women.
Yeah, like of truly Little Women. They're also, real quick, I'll say, that, we said there are so many different versions of this. This must be the most adapted, I can't speak, the most adapted story in film and TV. I mean, when you combine all the versions, there's too many to count, right? But there was one within the last 10 years that was a modern day version called Little Women, like totally set in like, the 2010s. Have you guys seen it? Do you care about a modern day version, or do you feel like the story has to be period?
Huh.
What do you
I think
think?
it has to be
It has to
period.
be period, yeah. I mean,
I
it's
don't.
such a part of the story that it's like, whoa, you gotta
Civil
really
War
change.
being, I mean, it could be maybe you could do it in like 1912. Like you could do it in different periods, but I don't think it
But
works in
not like
And
in this world with like texting and everything. Yeah, I kind of
not that
want to
we're
check it
not
out
like,
to see,
yeah.
you know.
Like certainly feminism is not one. We're
Right.
certainly still under a patriarchal society, but like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, who's having 4 kids these days?
Right.
rich people,
Some idiot, someone who,
like billionaires.
yeah,
Right.
it's not
So-
called Little Women, it's just called Rich Brats.
Yeah, rich dicks. I'm
Well,
so
thank you.
excited for our slumber party that no one
Oh
who's
my
listening
God.
to this podcast is invited to, but we're going.
We have to take a selfie, and I don't know, we gotta like
Yeah.
put the girls' faces on our faces, or maybe we
Yes.
put our heads on their bodies
Right?
in the dresses, right?
Pinch our noses?
Yes.
Yes, we all.
And that's the story of Joe, Amy, Meg, and Beth. I don't know, guys, call me crazy, but I kind of want a sequel. I want to see where these women end up, where the surviving ladies, live and who they're with. And I don't know, I want to see more. Let me know if you do as well. I think there's something there for sure. Maybe I'll write it. Thank you to my guests, my friends of 25 years or more, Melissa Ward, Kit Sheehan, and Sarah Menequal. The 4 of us were just reunited in person over the holidays, so if you haven't already, please follow me on Instagram at Release Date Rewind to see a picture of us together, plus more footage of this conversation and movie and more. Thank all of you out there who listen to or watch this show. It's not so easy to make a podcast, but it is sure fun to connect with many of you and talk about these great memories from our past. Happy New Year, everybody.